Deborah, we're here with Lieutenant Chris Olivares with DPS. He is going to tell us a little bit more about what he's learned that happened out here at Robb Elementary today. And Lieutenant Olivares, we've just learned that 18 students have been killed.
Right, Vanessa. So first I want to acknowledge the brave men and women of law enforcement that showed up to the scene, that actually were involved in the scene, that actually made entry into this school and saved more lives. That, of course, we lost 18. But I want to praise those brave men and women of law enforcement. Also, offer our condolences on behalf of Texas Department of Public Safety to the families, to the victims, and the entire Uvalde community. So what we do know right now that the suspect was involved in a family disturbance earlier on the day with his grandmother, in which he shot his grandmother. From that point on, what we do know is that local law enforcement received a call of a crash and a man with a gun nearby where the school's at. At that point, local law enforcement responded to the school. The suspect made entry into the school, and as soon as he made entry into the school, he started shooting children, teachers, whoever was in his way. He was shooting everybody. We had, of course, as I mentioned, brave law enforcement made entry into that school, exchanged gunfire with a suspect who was wearing body armor. Several police officers were shot. At that point, we did have a tactical law enforcement team arrive on scene. They made entry. They were also met with gunfire by the suspect, but they were actually able to shoot the suspect, and now the suspect is deceased. As of right now, we do have 18 children confirmed that are deceased, as well as 2 adults, one of those being a teacher from the school.
And we've also heard word that a Border Patrol agent was struck with gunfire, a few officers shot. We've heard that some law enforcement officers actually went into school to get their kids out. Can you talk about that?
Right, so what we do know, Vanessa, right now that there was some police officers, families trying to get their children out of the school because it was an active shooter situation right now. It's a terrible situation right now. And of course, just as we mentioned, the loss of life, it's just terrible. It's a terrible tragedy right now that took place. But again, we got to keep acknowledging those brave men and women that actually were there on scene that met this suspect. And of course, we know that they were met with gunfire. Some of them were shot. But at the end of this, the suspect was shot and is now deceased. The threat is now neutralized.
And we're hearing his home was less than a mile away from here. Did you find any other guns, any other ammunition? We've heard maybe a backpack in the school or at his home.
So what we do know right now, Vanessa, is that the suspect was armed with a long rifle. We are working with ATF, FBI, multiple law enforcement agencies here on scene, trying to determine what kind of weapon this individual had, how he obtained it, and also what the motives were, if any, behind this mass shooting.
We've seen parents out here the last few hours wondering where their children are. Have you been able to notify all the parents?
We have local law enforcement out working with the families, contacting the families as well. Also those that have lost children. We do have some type of victim services involved as well to try to meet with these families and comfort them in this time of need right now. So I think we're now as a community that we need to acknowledge this and have prayers for these families, these victims that are lost right now.
Where does the investigation go now?
So it's still an active investigation. We have multiple agencies. Texas Rangers right now are the lead investigators for this shooting, as well as working with FBI, ATF as well. So it's a multiple agency investigation right now. And we will provide updates as we receive them.
All right. Thank you, Lieutenant. We appreciate your time today. And there you have update. 18 children died in the shooting today, including one teacher out here at Robb Elementary. We'll have more updates later on in the show. Deborah, back to you.